always a challenge to try to get into the mind of a killer.
Ay, me asusté bastante, sir. He got very weird, very nervous.
It's a story that has been developing for a few days now. The murder of several women in our community and their bodies found in different remote locations.
A lot of people there were warned of, the dangers.
She was taken by surprise or executed.
The sheriff's office says Loretta was alive when deputies arrived, but later died at the hospital.
She was working on the streets or on San Bernardo.
Erica Peña had just come up to him and given him a story.
I don't know, sir. I got it horrible vibes, sir.
She believed that person was involved in the Melissa and Claudine murders.
She didn't deserve to die like this. She loved her children.
A woman was injured, same area where Melissa Ramirez was found.
Everything that the girls knew about David was that he was a kind, funny, friendly guy that would buy them drugs.
That was the catalyst to everything else that transpired.
My sister was empathetic, showing compassion.
You've got to be able to put the pieces together.
Is this your drug? Hey.
Francisco Hernandez, with his training and experience, turns on his body cam. He records the entire thing. You need to catch this guy because he's going to continue to kill.
Do you know how you got blood on your boots? Blood on my boots? I have no idea how I got blood on my boots.
323 to 584.
Ay, me asusté bastante, sir. Sir.
Okay, just hold on, okay?
Body cam footage is critical evidence in Texas. The encounter between Officer Hernandez and Erica Peña, we see the benefits of the body cam footage. You see live her demeanor, the terror in her eyes, the fear, the trembling.
Ahorita te ayudo. Just tranquila. Ponte aquí, mira. Let me just get something
Sir,
from you.
no me
Okay?
vaya a ver.
¿Y dónde está el muchacho?
Trae una cosa blanca.
¿Ya se fue?
Sí. Ay, me asusté bastante, sir.
She began to tell us that, somebody had just pulled a gun on her.
Me vine corriendo, me sacó la pistola y me quería subir y me empecé a gritar, help me, help me.
She was scared, visibly shaken. She was recounting what had happened.
So basically, he's like a friend of yours.
He's not a real friend, sir. I've seen him 4 or 5 times. Well, he knew Melissa, right? The girl that killed Melissa Ramirez, and we started talking about her. What happened, and he got very weird all of a sudden, very nervous.
He did? Okay.
I don't know, sir. I got a vibe.
A bad vibe.
Horrible vibe, sir. We were talking about de las muchachas que acaba de fallecer. All of a sudden me dice, I feel weird, dice, I feel very stressed.
Pero te asaltó él cuando te quitó la camisa.
Cuando me quitó la camisa, yo me zafé de la camisa para salirme.
So he was trying to grab you?
He was trying to grab me y subirme para subirme. Me sacó, dijo, wait.
Espérate, nomás siéntate así, nomás es que tengo cosas.
That evening, got the call from the trooper that Erica Peña had just come up to him and given him a story.
I know, it's a shock. I mean, you just escaped from a possible kidnap, I mean, te fuera hecho kidnap and that would have been the end of you.
And because that trooper was aware of the investigation, he told the ranger it might be related to y'all's case. Do y'all want to talk to her? We were actively investigating the death of, at this point, Claudine and Melissa. And we were interviewing people and doing what we could to try and make some headway on the case. She showed up with the trooper. She began to tell us that she believed that person may be the same person who was involved in the Melissa and Claudine murders. She told us that she thought he was an oil field worker. She knew him by just one name.
His name is David.
You only know him as David, or?
Yeah.
She had established a relationship, a friendship with David. And it first started as a client. And then it progressed. She would provide sexual services for him. He would buy her drugs, and he would also buy her food. On several occasions, she would go to his house. That night, they get to his house. Things were going okay. But when she expressed her sadness about Melissa and about everything that was going on, and now Claudine, she saw something was not right with David. Call it a sixth sense, call it a gut feeling. She says her inner voice told her, you need to get out. He still wants to proceed to have sex with her. She's looking for a way out, and the idea comes up about taking her to a store so that she can get some food.
She told us that she got so scared when she was at his house that she threw up on the sidewalk. She gave us a rough area in town where she had been. The description of the house she gave us was spot on, and on the sidewalk there was her vomit. So after we find the house, we begin to use our resources to see who lived there, what vehicles are registered to the house, and that's when we came up with the name Juan David Ortiz. There was a white Dodge with those license plates registered to that person. We put out a lookout for that vehicle.
And it's approximately at 1 in the morning, 1:05 a.m. that Trooper John Henry Bradshaw spots the vehicle at the stripes. Ortiz had parked over on the left side of the stripes, over by the dumpster. Leaves the gun in the side pocket of the door panel. He goes in to use the restroom. By this time, 2 troopers have already set up in a tactical formation. The footage from the store and the footage from the troopers' body cams shows it all.
Turn around! Turn around! Turn around! Stop! Is this your truck? Is this your truck? Okay, all right. Turn around. This truck right here is matching with the murders that's been happening within the past 2 weeks. We want to do an interview. We want to do some questioning. We just need for you to cooperate with us, okay?
It's somewhere around 30 to 45 seconds that Ortiz is there with his hands up trying to decide his next move. And he makes the conscious decision to evade and run away.
Hey, 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 hey!
He went into the underworld.
Laredo is a border town. We're right next to Mexico, so we have a mix of that culture, people who speak English and Spanish, both sometimes. Very close, tight-knit community.
Laredo is the largest inland port in the United States. There's a high presence of law enforcement, federal, state, and local law enforcement. Year in and year out, our numbers are low as far as violent crimes.
San Bernardo is an older part of town. It has its own problems that come with any older areas in a growing city.
And it is one of those areas where law enforcement does encounter some crime. And it is the area where there's drug sales that go on the street. There's prostitution that goes on in some of these old hotels around the boulevard.
It was known mostly as a location where you would find women who were working the night.
Well, we now know the identity of the deceased woman found on the Camino Colombia on Monday. She's 29-year-old Melissa Ramirez of Laredo, and the case is now being investigated as a homicide.
Melissa Ramirez was a young woman in her late 20s. She had a criminal record of run-ins with the law for drug possessions and also for prostitution. So it's unfortunate that being under the grips of her drug addiction, she had turned to this lifestyle. Around the time that she was murdered, she was working on the streets there on San Bernardo.
The area Melissa was found in, it was outside the city limit. You'd go about 18 miles north. There is not much around the area. It's a bunch of ranch land.
It was evident that she was killed there at the scene. There was approximately 2 gunshot wounds that she had to her head area. There was no effort to conceal any of the physical evidence. The casings were there. It appeared that she was taken by surprise or executed. She was clenching a bag of M&Ms when she died. When they were able to assess and determine who she was, then it became evident that it would have been probably somebody who picked her up on San Bernardo.
We did follow up a lot of leads with some of the people that Melissa was seen with at one point before she was murdered.
Part of that strategy was to make contact with some of her friends that also worked in the San Bernardo area. And also trying to locate Johns that would have had any sort of relationship with Melissa.
We were following up any lead that came our way. The ranger who was working the case with us reached out to the U.S. Border Patrol Border Intelligence Center, and he was asking if there were any license plate reader hits or any camera hits that may have caught anything that would have assisted us in the investigation.
Today, around 6:30 in the morning, authorities received a call of a woman who was injured by Highway 255 and 83 North, same area where Melissa Ramirez was found.
Investigators in the latest death case here in Laredo have revealed the name of the victim. 47-year-old Claudian Ann Loera was found on Thursday morning in the brush near Camino Colombia, about half a mile east of US 83 North with head trauma. The sheriff's office says Loera was alive when deputies arrived, but later died at the hospital.
It was initially assumed that she had been hit by a car. When the officers made it out to the scene, they discovered that it was not a auto-pedestrian accident, that it was in fact another murder.
When they explained to me that it took place very close to the other location, this time on Toll Road 255, that it was a sex worker, the same type of casings were found, that the person was also shot from behind and also left on the side of the road to be discovered. That is when I dubbed this case a serial murder case. The method in which he killed Melissa and Claudine were almost identical. And I told the investigator, I said, you need to catch this guy because he's going to continue to kill. It's a close-knit community of these women that work there on San Bernardo, and they do look out for each other. I had learned that Melissa had a great sense of humor, and she was liked by all of the women that worked there on San Bernardo. Claudine was a very caring and compassionate person and looked out for her friends.
I know that the San Bernardo area, the people working there, when women started kind of disappearing, a lot of people there were warned of, the dangers of what's happening. Juan David Ortiz left that gas station where authorities were surrounding him. He ran a couple blocks down San Bernardo to that Ava hotel. We have some residents here who, I guess the Mexican term is chismosos. So a scene like this, I think especially after we saw so many women being killed, they were out on the streets watching, because they want to say one day that they witnessed this arrest.
No, bro. He went out here. He's in here.
I was at the top of the parking garage watching the SWAT team. And I instructed them to, do a methodical search of the parking garage.
That video footage is so important because it's real time. It takes the viewer to the exact location. It shows his reaction, it shows his behavior, which is evidence of guilt.
What's your name, bro?
Around the time that we're responding to the area where Juan David Ortiz was hiding, we did get a call of a deceased person, and he said, it looks like you have another victim related to your case.
About 1 in the morning, while Captain Calderon is searching in the parking lot of the Ava Hotel, he gets a phone call saying, "Captain, we've got another one." So when they finally capture Juan David Ortiz, they have 3 murders to talk to him about.
Hello, sir. Hello. You okay? Good. You comfortable? You need some water or anything? Yeah.
He was generally uncooperative initially.
What's your name? You guys already know. Can you tell us? You guys already know.
My style is not going into the room and banging on the table and threatening people and try to take a different approach. I talk to people and eventually convince them to tell me their story.
You know there's always 2 sides to every story. Everybody has problems. And you know you're in custody right now, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Are you waiting to tell us your side of the story for what happened, or?
There's no set time to when you expect somebody to start talking, and if we were talking about a simple theft or a simple assault, that may have been a different story, but we were talking about 3 alleged murders and an aggravated assault with a deadly weapon.
You remember Erica? I have no idea who he's talking about. You have no idea who Erica is? No. The only Erica I know is Erica Castro, and she's from high school.
He didn't know who Erica was, and he didn't remember this and that, and when it got to the stuff that we wanted to know, that's when the forgetfulness started.
Do you know how you got blood on your boots? Blood on my boots? I have no idea how I got blood on my boots.
That's when you start seeing that, that there's holes in the story and that he was being less than honest. That's why we pressed on certain issues.
One of the interesting things that I've learned about confessions is that they're not always the entire truth. You've got to be able to put the pieces together.
He was confronted with a lot of the evidence we did have, casings and a lot of stuff that would have eventually placed him at those crime scenes. And he just, asked to have the cuffs removed from him.
Please take this off. I'm not gonna attack you.
I'm sitting in another room watching this happen, and I'm hoping that Captain Calderon takes off the handcuffs. I could see that Juan David Ortiz is ready to tell all. Captain Calderon contemplates it, and in his wisdom and his experience decides, I'm going to take a chance and I'm going to uncuff this killer. He takes off the cuffs. Freeing him of those restraints allows him to open up and say, I did it. And he tells it all.
Driving around like
As time progressed, he became more detailed about his account of what he did and more graphic.
She walks away and then she comes back. I'm telling you to walk away. You're not listening to me.
He had a friendship and a relationship with Melissa.
Okay, and Melissa, she was, Erica referred to her as a good friend of mine. She was a good friend of mine. I check up. So I get on 35 North and I'm driving. And I'm just driving. And then I'm like, I should have a long time ago. You didn't wake up that day with that plan. I did not plan it. I know. You know what, dude? You know what? I knew that happened spur of the moment. I knew it's something, because that's the way these start.
At some point, we'd get a phone call that Juan David Ortiz was in fact a federal agent who worked for the U.S. Border Patrol.
I work in the Border Intelligence Center within the Laredo Sector Operations Center. You guys already know all this. I was in the Targeted Enforcement Unit. I was the group supervisor for a bunch of agents.
She was one of the persons of interest to see if she could, help us with any information on our investigation.
Since he worked in the Intelligence Center for Border Patrol, this information was going through him. I believe they sent out, my sister's name along with her picture. And coincidentally, she ends up dying on the 13th.
I do believe that that Ortiz either overheard or picked up the name of Claudine Loera when that phone call was made to his colleague, went out and looked for her the next day and killed her. My theory is that Claudine had no idea that Juan David Ortiz killed her friend. Everything that the girls knew about David was that he was a kind, funny, friendly guy that would buy them drugs and take them and get them food.
And she brings up, hey, check your Melissa. Like, I heard about that shit. That dude, you know where that's at? I've seen it in the past. And he's all like, what if you already f***ed up for we don't see it? I'm like, this is crazier than I am. Like, what if you already f***ed up for we don't see it?
And that is why she got on the truck to begin with and innocently brought up the topic. Of course, he had other intentions. Why else would she have said, well, do you know where it happened? Can you take me there? And him answering by saying, I do know where it happened.
And as we get to 80 pretty for your local fitness, that's when she starts really freaking, no, dude, no, dad, no, dude, no, I don't want to go that road, no. Like, okay, so I make her right, ¿cómo se llama? Ahí on the 255.
During that 18-mile drive to the location is when it creeped in to her that she was in the truck with the actual killer.
You're probably the killer. You're probably the killer. You're about to shut up. You're probably... Get out of my truck. She gets out. You're probably the killer. Right. Did she see it coming or she didn't see it coming? She saw it. She got shot.
I believe that the trigger for Ortiz went off after he killed Claudine Loera on the 13th. In his mind, in his words, is when the monster came out. He made the conscious decision that these people needed to be cleaned out of the city. At that time is when he began to justify in his mind the reasons why to kill anybody that worked in the sex industry.
They don't have jobs. You have us prostituting on the street. Like, why the f*** doesn't anybody take out these?
That is why I believe he picked up Erica, and through his confession that he was going to continue to pick up anybody working on San Bernardo until he got caught. After Erica escaped, he goes home and he starts to prepare for a confrontation. He knows that Erica knows where he lives. He's expecting law enforcement to be at his doorstep any minute.
Mind you, by this time I know that you guys are looking for me because of Erica. So by this time the whole life is coming to an end.
He's getting ready for a confrontation that never happens.
Like, you know what? You're ready to come after me. Why not just keep cleaning up the streets?
He arrives at around 10:45 that night at this place called Murphy's. It's a gas station. And we obtained the video footage where he goes in, he buys 3 beers. He goes to the counter, he pulls out his card and he puts his code in and takes his beer and he goes to his truck. That video is very significant because it shows his demeanor. It shows his interaction like any other person. And I think it helps refute any idea that this man was going through some sort of psychotic episode. After that, he goes back to San Bernardo, picks up Griselda, takes Griselda out to the 22-mile marker, and that's where he kills her.
The third victim was found a few hours after authorities captured Ortiz on I-35, a mile marker 20.
I literally parked under the bridge, under the interstate. And I said, walk that way, or left, to San Antonio. And he said, why are you just letting me go? And I'm like, you heard about all this that's been on the news, the two bitches. And I'm the one that did it. Walk away. She's like, why? And God loves you. God will forgive you. She wants to just go away, okay? I'm telling you to walk away. Just walk away, okay? Walk away. She walks away, and then she comes back. I'm telling you to walk away. You're not listening to me.
And he's the one who told us that, you know, there's one you don't know about yet and you haven't found.
That victim is a male, and he has been identified by his family as Humberto Ortiz.
She loved being around her friends. She had lots of friends. She loved wearing bustiers like Selena Quintanilla. And Rihanna, she loved Rihanna a lot. We would always sing the Rihanna songs.
He picks up Janelle, and as he's driving Janelle to his final resting place, he's asked, "It was you killed Melissa."
It's you, isn't it? Like what? It's you, you're the one.
And he answers truthfully and says, yes, it was. And through his confession, Janelle asks, "You're gonna kill me? I'm gonna kill you." Janelle didn't make an effort to fight. She gets off the truck.
He was like right there, like my door was open, standing up in the car. I stepped in, takes a few steps, shot her one time.
Juan David gets off the truck, walks behind her, and shoots her behind the head. Executes Janelle. I was at the substation that morning observing this interview as it was unfolding. It was a chilling moment in time. The cell phone evidence that we have and the pinging puts him at the 13-15 mile marker, around that area, where he kills Janelle. Janelle's body is on the side of the road in the grass. So it's hidden, it's not visible off the main highway.
And exactly where he told us that she'd be, that's where she was. And the way he described killing her was the way she was killed.
I know a lot of people were upset because they wanted to see this trial take place in the community where it happened. Everyone you know was tuned into that trial. I met some of the victims' families when, the trial was going on. They really became a unit. And even going to the trials in San Antonio, they were always together. They always were just ready to express that sex workers don't deserve this despite their job, despite what they're going through. They're humans too. And in a community like Laredo that is very family driven, if something happens to one family, it happens to everyone's family.
On September the 14th of 2018, the women on San Bernardo Avenue were scared. They were scared because two of their friends had been found dead. Melissa Ramirez and Claudine Loera. One of those women that was scared was Erica Peña. You will see and you will hear through his own words how he took each woman to their last resting place, how he executed them. You will hear in his own words the indifference, the disrespect, the degradation that he has for these people to justify ending their lives. You will hear the evidence in his own words. I wanted to clean up the streets. Nobody was focused on Juan David Ortiz, who during this entire time was working at the Border Patrol Intelligence Center as a supervisor. He was there watching all of this.
This young man had an impeccable record, had served our country in Iraq, had seen horrible things in Iraq. He came over here, he became a Border Patrol agent, was impeccable record, immediately raised and rose up to the intelligence unit.
I believe the defense, their theory was that he did have PTSD. He was going to the VA clinic and getting treatment for it, but they believe that the treatment was kind of messing with his mindset. That was the catalyst to everything else that transpired.
State want to call their first witness.
State calls Erica Peña.
My decision was to open the trial with her testimony. It was a very big challenge for us, given the fact that so much time had passed, the fact that Erica did not have a stable home or address where to find her. She was still working on the streets, struggling with addiction, in and out of rehab.
Do you know why you're here today?
Yes.
Do you know a person by the name of Juan David Ortiz?
Yes.
Can you identify him here in the courtroom or what he's wearing? You can please point to him. Do you see him?
Yes. In black.
It was just a very impactful story that she had to share.
I hadn't seen David in a while. I was mad because David had broken my phone. I was staying at a hotel.
Had you heard anything about anybody being found dead?
By that time, yes.
And how did you feel about that?
Scared. Nobody knew who it was. All the girls were watching their backs.
So you get to his house. What exactly happens when you get there?
We were talking about some other stuff, then all of a sudden he said that he was afraid that they would check his DNA because he was second to last to be with Melissa.
What was your response to that? What did you
I
tell
told him that if he didn't have nothing to do, he shouldn't be scared. I tell him I forgot something in the truck, and as soon as I step outside, I start vomiting because I felt very nauseous, very nervous. When he said he was second to last, that kept me thinking.
Thinking what?
That maybe he was the one.
He was the one that what?
That had been murdering.
I can only imagine what was running through her mind, and even during the trial, it looked like she was still going through all of that pain. But once again, in front of Juan David Ortiz, the man that she last encountered this horrific situation with.
David parks behind a tractor and just says, "Wait, hold on." Pulls out a gun. I open the door. He's trying to grab me by my left shoulder.
How did you get away?
I took off running. I snapped. Some way, somehow, I took off running without a shirt.
Even just watching the body camera video of the trooper helping her, you know, you felt like you were there in that moment with her, and it was so hard to watch.
Just hold on, okay?
Everyone came out of that first day thinking how brave Erica was for taking the stand, telling her truth, and telling her side of the events.
Go ahead and take the stance first. Are you going to start straight with the video, or are you going to have questioning before?
I wanted to start straight with the video.
Okay, perfect.
Hello, good, okay? Good.
I had never actually seen an interrogation or a questioning between an officer and a suspect. To see the approaches that they took to trying to get information from him, it was something that a lot of people were talking about.
Do you remember him in the interview saying, "I didn't want to do it, it's Erica"?
Yes, I remember that.
I do believe that Ortiz was going to kill her on that night, and he would have continued to kill before eventually I would have hoped that law enforcement would have arrested him. Without her, certainly there would have been more people who would have been injured or killed. To this day, I do believe she was the hero in this case, in helping break open this case and taking law enforcement right to Ortiz's doorstep.
You're with me, just relax, okay? Just relax.
You may be seated.
Throughout the trial, he kept a very cold demeanor, no expressions. He looked back maybe like once, but other than that, he just kept a straight face.
It was kind of chilling. Even the one time where I think I caught eye contact with him, it kind of sent a shiver down my spine. Being in the courtroom, the energy was very palpable.
Has the jury reached a verdict? Was it a unanimous verdict? Can the defendant please stand? In front. We, the jury, find the defendant, Juan David Ortiz, guilty of the offense of capital murder, charged in the indictment, and as instructed in this charge.
It was just the most powerful thing to watch. Not only somebody be sent away for the rest of their life, but to see the families finally share what has been in their hearts for years.
Today, Mr. Ortiz, I am choosing to forgive you because I know in my heart that Melissa, Claudine, Giselda, and Janelle are resting peacefully in the heavens above.
Impact statements, those were definitely the hardest to listen to have each family member go up there and look straight into his eyes and tell them how they felt.
I'm Melissa Ramirez's sister-in-law. Monsters like you don't even deserve to breathe, nor wake up to every morning. You are a turd, so take back those words you've said to these beautiful women. You deserve to die and suffer for what you did, and when that day happens, I will finally be in peace.
Janelle, his youngest sister. As the youngest sibling, I never thought I'd be going through this experience right now. It's a lot of emotion. You probably don't know, because you don't know what it's like losing a sibling.
I am the youngest daughter of Claudine Duera. You took my mom away from me. You ruined any chance I could have to have her in my life. You, Juan David Ortiz, you didn't kill just women. You killed women who mattered, women who were loved by so many people. You will always be known and remembered in our community and in Laredo, and to the whole world, you will be known as a monster. You said you wanted to clean up the streets of Laredo. Our streets in Laredo will only be clean when people like you are put away in jail forever.
My intent was to go full throttle with the death penalty. But as time went by and these families bonded together and spoke, and they grieved, and they came together as one. It was Griselda's brother who was sort of the spokesperson of the group. And one of our meetings, he expressed to me their desire to take the death penalty off the table. That they felt collectively and unanimously that life without the possibility of parole would be a far more severe punishment than death. And in his words, having been somebody who served more than 20 years in prison himself, he said that the death penalty would be the easy way out.
My name is Joey Cantu. Chelly, Griselda Cantu, was many things. And yes, she was a drug addict, she was a prostitute, and she was a felon. But she wasn't always these things. And maybe one day she would have ceased in being these things, as her family had always hoped. But you have forever robbed us of that hope, that one day she would come back to us. My sister was empathetic and she was compassionate, as evidenced by your conversation with her. Her knowing what was likely going to happen to her, showing you compassion, sympathy. She did not beg for her life. She begged for your life. She would tell you it didn't matter what you had done, that God would forgive you, that God would always love you. And that was my sister in a nutshell.
At the end of the day, we'll never know why he did this. Somebody who had it all, somebody who served his country, somebody who had a bright future there within the law enforcement agency that he was working, to do such a horrific crime. He betrayed his country, he betrayed the law enforcement agencies, and most of all, he betrayed his family.
It'll always have an impact on the community. The loss of all of these women, it's just always gonna hold heavy on people's hearts because we saw it all happen.